Well, I've kind of overcome a lot of the primers dropping out the bottom issue by raising my universal decapping die a little bit. Now, I don't know as this would work with a full length resizing die because, you got set your shoulder bump and everything. And that's because you can see how much I raised it. It's not touching the shell plate. There's a bit of a gap there. And for the most part, this works. Yeah, you raise it till it decaps, you know, reliably. Okay, mostly reliably. There are a couple problem head stamps I've run into. The main culprits are CBC and whoever makes the ones that are marked extreme. If they don't fully decap, it's almost guaranteed it's one of those two head stamps from what I've seen. I ran into one other, but I only ran into one of them, so I don't know if it mostly works or if it's just, an oddity in the batch. Sometimes you have like one head stamp, one example, and out of 1,000. But yeah, well, I'm decapping about 9 pounds of 9mm, and I started last night and I picked up less than a dozen off the floor. And well, you can see there aren't all that many lying around today either, so it's overcoming the problem quite well. Not 100%, but enough to make me much happier. What I think would really help is like here, full stroke. That channel is actually just below here on this press, but I think if they would have raised the bottom of it, maybe just enough for a large primer to roll out on its side, or maybe up just enough to trap them, to give that little extra time, and it would sync things up a little better and make it, that much harder to outrun it, outpace that primer, because some of them, zing right out, and some just take their time, and those are probably the ones that end up down at the bottom. So I'm wondering if taking maybe a little caulk in there and, shaping it, raise that up, and testing that theory. If it works, point proven. Then it's whether to make it permanent with JB Weld or just, make it reversible. But it's a theory, and I think it's valid. So I may just try that at some point. Also, I don't know if the Redding T7s do this, but occasionally a primer will pop out the priming slot here and drop right into the priming. And of course, there's this plunger here that traps them. And of course, you drop in your primer tube and you start going, and the first few might be spent primers. Whether they're right side up or upside down, good guess. Because I just cleared 2 of them out of here, Pull it back, push forward, and spent primer. One was right side up, one was upside down. One of them I watched go in there. So I was like, It's like scholarship material, Nothing but net and all that. It was pretty wild. So, yeah, capping this off when you're not using it for priming, it's probably a good idea to prevent that from happening. So I got to find something to either fit over it or into it. It can be easily removed. And that'd be another little problem solved. Some of the engineering choices could have been, you know, a little better thought out. But this is really similar from what I can tell to the Redding. Not exact, but it looks somewhat similar anyway. You know, where it sits and the tube and open top and all that. Heck, if they made it expense, you know, when you remove the tube closed off or something, or just included a cap, you know, how much could that cost? Just, yeah, hang it off the side or something and save a headache. Little things, just those little things. But yeah, you have to see what else can be done. But I'm happier that this is at least working, but it may only be working because I'm using a universal decapper. And most other things with decapping pins, I've either removed the pin or ground it off. The forcer die is removable, so as soon as I pulled it out of the box, I removed that pin. Never used it. And like my collet die, ground it off. Sizing die for 9mm, well, I'll end up grinding that one off. Because if any of you have ever caught your finger between the ram and a decapping pin, you know the pain. You know the blood and the cleanup, and you can, you know, just skewer your finger. So the less of those, you know, poking out, the safer I am. But yeah, little things. Yeah, work on these things. Oh, like I was comparing the ram assembly to the Lee, and the Lee, you know, the pieces are, you know, simpler. They're more easily made, and a lot of them appear to be sintered metal. So, yeah, they're molded, basically. This is cast, and this is by far the most complicated piece. But there are less parts in this system, and they're more robust, probably, and easier to disassemble, because you just got circlips and a rod here and a rod here. So for those of you who have ever disassembled, you know, as far as you can, a Lee, it's like mine. This Lee, this came, and the ram was 180 degrees out, and there's only two ways you can put this in. They put it in backwards. What happens when they do is, okay, right here, this piece unscrews if you're not familiar with it, and if it's in 180 degrees out, it can, you know, it's not tight. It can, you know, move back and forth, and your priming arm, you know, gets out of center of this, binds, your, you know, primer doesn't work quite right, and it moves for no apparent reason. If you're experiencing that, there's almost 100% chance that your ram is in backwards. So you gotta disassemble this. And I forget who it is. They had a video on it, and that's where I figured, you know, kind of figured that out. And this is a pain because you can't totally disassemble it, and it's tight, and there's pins that go in here. It's not a pin that goes through, it goes in a little bit out of each, and they're pressed in here, and it doesn't all come apart. It's a pain in the butt. But once I did, and I flipped it around, snugged right down, doesn't move. So yeah, it may fix something for somebody. And so, yeah, the more I work around things, yeah, the better I start liking it. I mean, it's robust, it works good, except a couple things could have been thought through a little bit more instead of having to adjust or find workarounds for it. You know, going here instead of out the bottom of the RAM like everybody else does. Well, kind of reinventing the wheel. And it doesn't work as efficiently as, 100% kind of stuff, or unless it comes out the wrong hole. But like I said, here, if that slot in the RAM was raised up to trap it just, eighth of a second longer, because sometimes a primer will shoot right out the bottom fast as you can watch it, and other times they'll just take their time, and I think those are the ones that end up out the bottom. I don't know whether they bounce back and forth or what the deal is, but leisurely. I bent the the pin on my universal decapper, and so as I'm changing it, I'm loosening it, and it drops right down in the RAM, all the way down to the stinking bottom. And yeah, I had to pull it apart. The circlips make it nice and easy, but I pulled that right, it just fell out like crap. But as I picked it up, I noticed there's a set screw in the bottom of the RAM. And my best guess is that it holds this pin in place. So, yeah, that might make it a little easier than just dropping the RAM. So, yeah, but I had to turn it upside down. Now, on that, the turret press, it dropped straight out the bottom. Would not have been a problem. Like the redding, there's a spout out the back. It would have been the same mess, probably. I don't know how they're constructed. But, yeah, at least that made life much easier. So, yeah. There's a tip from your old Uncle Psycho. I'm glad I bought a few of those pins, because I have a tendency to bend them. Things aren't quite lined up just so, and you think it's just another military crimped in beast. No, you didn't get it quite lined up good enough. Which, I have run into some, these 9mm. Yep, some of them are crimped. So, put them on the old pocket swager and fix them up. So, yeah. Okay. See you later. God bless. See ya.